This is John,
And we got Chip here.
and we're at the entrance to Wesley Woods Camp today, as you can see by the sign. What are we doing out here, John?
Chip, somebody said that we need to talk about the pine trees.
And when you come into camp, first thing you see
Is the pine trees. And so, how did they get here? When did they get here? What are they doing here? And so, I think with the sign, the pine trees give us a good welcoming. And from what I understand, we have some people that planted these trees back in the day.
in the day.
Say like late 1950s.
Yeah.
And I want to go find them and get their story on it. But these pine trees are starting to thin out. But they're here. They look good. Ones are alive.
Yeah,
And
yeah, they do. They make a nice, sets the atmosphere, sets the tone a little bit for coming into camp. It's a peaceful spot, a restful spot, and just is a nice way to roll into camp.
Pine Tree State Camp.
Yep.
Shall we go find them?
Let's go hunt them down.
Okay. Hey, Chip, guess what?
What? What's up, John?
I found two people that planted these pine trees here.
They must be old.
Well, the trees are, but these people aren't.
Oh, good.
So we got Joanne Appenzella here and Gary Morrison, and when they were youth, they planted them. So, Joanne, tell us more about your youth planting trees.
Well, it was the Center Chapel United Methodist Church youth group that came over and planted all these trees, and I'm guessing it was probably about 1958.
And when you say the youth group, you were part of that youth group, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I was probably the youngest one, and Gary's probably the oldest one.
I think that's very accurate.
But we're not telling ages, right?
No,
No.
not at all. These trees have some age on them.
So how many trees do you think you planted?
We heard 4,000 or 5,000. I didn't get in on that many.
I don't know if that was all in this spot here. It could have been some other areas in the camp, but because this was the only one that the youth group did was this area.
So Center Chapel did these right here.
These were here by the lagoon.
You know how long it took you to do it?
I think we were just here one day.
Right, and I
Wow.
think I didn't get there until middle of the day and spent the afternoon.
So did you have a planting machine, or are you digging by spade, shovel?
We poked them in the ground. I don't remember any planting machine. Do you remember a planting machine?
I was trying to.
I think we just went
I think
by
somebody.
sight.
I think somebody dug a hole and we dropped them in
Yeah.
and closed it up.
Stepped on them.
Yeah.
Okay. So how far apart? About 7 feet? in
The
rows?
rows were probably 7 or 8 feet apart.
And the trees?
Thick enough that they had to be thinned out later.
Thick enough. I noticed like a couple of them are like 3-4 feet apart. Does that sound about right?
I would think normally it would have been a little more than that, but
Well-
like
So those,
right there's a good example. 4 or 5 feet. I think you're
and then
probably
we thinned them out. What did they do when they thinned them out?
People came if they wanted to use them as a Christmas tree, and they made a donation, and then they cut a tree out.
Cut the tree down.
Good way to thin it out, and somebody gets a Christmas
Right,
tree,
and
and
Help
yeah,
support the camp too.
Yeah. It's a win-win-win.
Yeah. Anything else we need to know? Do you have to come back and water 'em?
wasn't involved
I
with
think
any
the Lord
watering.
watered them.
Probably. Other people were maintaining them more than their youth groups. You know, they needed the manpower and woman power.
So probably other youth groups from other United Methodist churches might have some input on this.
They weren't here when we were here.
No.
But maybe other weeks.
Perhaps something like that.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to know if anybody else remembers
Yeah.
pieces of this project and,
That'd be
and
interesting.
doing this kind of work at camp with their youth group.
I think what's kind of interesting is two of those people involved with that planting, Joanne and myself, are still involved here at the camp. Joanne in a
Yeah.
pretty strong way.
That almost gives chills down my spine. You know, thinking like that's just so cool. So
Yeah,
it
isn't
is.
it?
Yeah.
it is. It's
Well,
great.
Gary, you're pretty important too, because we wouldn't get mowed up nice as we do without you.
Yeah.
Yeah, this pine forest has been through a lot. I mean, I've seen it when I first came. The honeysuckle was way over my head. We've trimmed it down, cleaned it out so it looks like a pine forest, and we have other trees coming in it too. So
Right. And it's kind of a thing that you notice as you approach the camp. It's close to our welcoming sign, and it's a welcoming forest.
Yeah, one of the first things you see when you come in.
I think most people would identify the trees as at the entrance.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Come past the sign, see the pines, you know you're coming into camp.
You bet.
Well, that's cool. I'm glad you guys could be part of the history, living history.
Yeah,
Yeah.
living history. Longer the better.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing with us.
Thanks for
you're
inviting
welcome.
us.
Glad to do it.